If you are a Pisces, on paper, you should be creating things that move people deeply enough to change the way they see the world. Your intuition reads situations with an accuracy that data cannot replicate. Your creativity operates on a frequency that produces ideas other people describe as genius once they finally understand them. Your empathy gives you an understanding of human needs that is the foundation of every successful business, every powerful brand, and every meaningful career. Neptune gives you vision, imagination, and access to a well of inspiration that genuinely never runs dry. With those tools, you should be building something extraordinary. So why does it sometimes feel like the extraordinary thing keeps living in your head instead of in the world? Why do people with less vision and less creativity build more tangible success? The answer is self-sabotage. And the way a Pisces self-sabotages is the saddest version in the zodiac. Because you sabotage yourself by giving your gifts away for free, avoiding the confrontation that success requires, and escaping into the dream instead of building it. The first pattern is chronically undervaluing your work because you do not feel entitled to charge what it is worth. This is the single most financially damaging habit a Pisces has. And it comes from a place that is genuinely beautiful, which makes it almost impossible to change without understanding why it exists. Neptune dissolves the boundary between giving and receiving. A Pisces creates from a place so deep and so connected to something larger than themselves that charging for it feels wrong. Like putting a price tag on a prayer. Like selling something sacred. Your art, your healing, your insight, your creativity, it flows through you so naturally that it does not feel like labor. And things that do not feel like labor do not feel like they deserve compensation. So you undercharge. You offer discounts before anyone asks. You do work for free because the person needed it and you could not say no. You price based on what you think people can afford rather than what your work is actually worth. And every time you do that, you send a message to the world and to yourself. This is not valuable enough to pay for. Here is the fix. Price your work based on the result it produces, not on how easy it was for you to create. The fact that creativity flows naturally through you does not make it less valuable. It makes it more rare. A surgeon does not discount because the operation felt intuitive to them. A lawyer does not cut their rate because the solution came quickly. Your ease is your expertise. And your expertise has a market rate that is almost certainly higher than what you are charging. Find out what people in your field charge at the top of the market. Then set your price at that level. Not because you're greedy, because you're accurate. And a Pisces who charges accurately has something that an undercharging Pisces never does. The financial stability to keep creating. The second pattern is avoiding the confrontation and negotiation that professional success requires. A Pisces will go to extraordinary lengths to avoid conflict. Not because you are weak. Because conflict feels toxic to your Neptune-ruled system. It disrupts the harmony. It creates dissonance. It feels physically painful in a way that most people do not experience. And in personal life, that conflict avoidance is manageable. But in professional life, it is crippling. Here is how it manifests. A client changes the scope of a project and you absorb the extra work without renegotiating the terms. A colleague takes credit for your contribution and you say nothing because confrontation feels worse than the injustice. A contract has unfavorable terms and you sign it anyway because pushing back feels uncomfortable. A customer owes you money and you let the debt slide because asking for payment feels aggressive. In every case, you chose peace over your own professional interests. And the accumulated cost of those choices over a career is staggering. You are underpaid, overextended, undercredited, and quietly resentful. All because the word no and the phrase "this needs to change" feel like acts of violence to your system. Here is the fix. Script your confrontations in advance. Write down exactly what you need to say before the conversation happens. A Pisces who improvises in conflict will always default to appeasement because your real-time instinct is to dissolve tension, not escalate it. But a Pisces who has rehearsed the key sentence, the one sentence that names the problem and states what needs to change, can deliver it even when the discomfort is intense. Practice this sentence. The current arrangement is not working for me, and here is what I need to change. You do not have to be aggressive. You do not have to be confrontational. You just have to be clear. And clarity, delivered with Pisces gentleness, is more powerful than most people's aggression, because it cannot be argued with. It can only be responded to. The third pattern is retreating into the dream instead of building it in reality. This is the deepest and most uniquely Pisces form of self-sabotage, and it is the one that steals more potential from this sign than everything else combined. Here is how it works. You have a vision, a business you want to build, a creative project you want to launch, a career path you want to pursue, and in your mind, it is vivid, detailed, beautiful. You can see exactly what it would look like, feel like, produce. And that internal experience of the vision is so rich and so satisfying that it almost substitutes for the actual thing. Neptune gives you the ability to live inside a dream so completely that the dream itself becomes a form of accomplishment. You feel as though you have already done it because you have already experienced it internally. And the gap between the internal experience and the external reality, the gap where actual work, actual risk, actual uncomfortable action lives, that gap never gets crossed. Because crossing it means leaving the perfect version and entering the imperfect one. The dream in your head has no flaws. The business in reality will have problems. The project in your imagination is finished. The project in the world will be messy. And a Pisces will often choose the perfection of the dream over the imperfection of the reality without even realizing they have made that choice. Here is the fix. Take one physical action today that makes the dream 1% more real. Not 100%. 1%. Send one email. Register one domain. Write one page. Make one call. Buy one supply. The action does not have to be big. It has to be physical. Something that exists in the world rather than in your head. Because every physical action is a bridge between the dream and reality. And a Pisces who builds one bridge per day will eventually look up and discover that the dream has become real. Not because they forced it, because they showed up often enough for reality to meet them halfway. And reality always meets a Pisces halfway when they give it something to work with. Here is the bigger picture. All three of these patterns, undervaluing your work, avoiding confrontation, and retreating into the dream, come from the same root. They come from Neptune placing so much value on the intangible, beauty, harmony, vision, feeling, that the tangible requirements of success get avoided. The contracts, the pricing, the difficult conversations, the physical actions that turn imagination into income. The fix is not to become less dreamy. That would destroy the very source of your genius. The fix is to build a bridge between the dream and the world. A Pisces who can dream and act, envision and execute, create and charge, that is a Pisces whose external success finally matches the extraordinary inner world they have always lived in. And the world deserves to see what you have been carrying inside you. It is time to let it out. Please remember that this video is for entertainment and personal reflection purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional career or financial advice. Every situation is unique, and if you are facing significant challenges, please consider speaking with a qualified professional. If this resonated with you, drop in the comments which of the 3 patterns you recognized in yourself immediately. Save this video so you can come back to it whenever you need the reminder. This is not going anywhere, and neither are these truths about who you are. Thank you for being with Stars Aligned. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a blessed day. You got this.